A diver equipped with ordinary snorkeling gear was taken aback when a humpback whale began circling around her. Her initial reaction was panic, but that changed when she uncovered the astonishing truth. When Anne was a little girl, her parents took her to the beach for the first time. She was amazed by the vastness of the ocean and how beautiful it looked in its blue expanse. She often wondered what it was like for the creatures that lived in it. Sometimes she even wished she could be one of them. Her love for the ocean was so strong that she decided at a young age to become a marine biologist when she grew up. As soon as she learned how to swim, she spent most of her time swimming at the beach. Her family visited sandy shores frequently so that Anne could swim for hours on end. Her parents and grandmother always reminded her to be careful while underwater. Her grandmother would playfully say, "Don't let a whale swallow you." Because of her deep affection for the ocean and everything in it, her family wasn't surprised when she told them she was going to college to study marine biology. Anne went on to college, became a marine biologist, and spent her life researching and monitoring ocean life, particularly whales and dolphins. Spending time in the ocean among marine creatures quickly became a favorite activity for Anne. She even preferred spending her time underwater than on dry land, and it was home to her. For 28 years, she took part in countless diving activities in the Cook Islands and the Bahamas. She became a legend in her field. One sunny afternoon, while diving in the waters around the Cook Islands, she anchored her boat and lowered herself into the water. She went with another diver who was filming while the rest of her crew were on the boat. As she glided along in the water, she was at peace. Nothing could ever calm her the way the sea did. It felt like all her problems floated away with the current. But this moment of serenity didn't last long. Something was coming at her fast. A few moments into her snorkeling, she noticed a shadow coming behind her. She couldn't make out what it was at first, but as it came closer, she could see that it was a humpback whale. She expected it to swim past her and was surprised to see it charging toward her. Over the years, Anne had educated people on the dangers of making contact with whales. She was so shocked that this humpback was initiating contact with her that she started recording the interaction. Anne was surprised but not alarmed. She was used to seeing whales and had been studying them for most of her life. This was not her first time swimming with them. She knew that she was to stay calm and not do anything to startle the whale. That's exactly what she did, and also made sure that she kept eye contact with the whale, because whales are known to challenge each other and establish dominance using eye contact. This enormous humpback whale was, however, acting unusually. It kept nudging her over and over again with its mouth. Then it started swimming around her, gliding and rolling around her. The whole incident was new to her, and it was about to get even more shocking. The humpback then lifted her on its head and hauled her to the surface of the water as it went out for air. Anne didn't miss a beat. In a few seconds, she was down in the water again and tried to swim toward her boat and crew, but the humpback kept pushing her away from her boat. The crew was scared for her and even stopped recording because they feared that these were her last moments and didn't want to record that the humpback carried her on its head again for about 10 minutes. Then it tried to put her under its pectoral fin. It was at this moment that Anne began to fear for her life. From looking at the whale, she had estimated that it would weigh 50,000 pounds, nearly 22,680 kilograms. She could drown if she was held under the huge whale. She tried to swim towards her boat, but it kept nudging her away from it. The nudging had become painful, and the whale's barnacles had cut her up a bit when it tried to put her under its fin. She was scared for her life. As she struggled with this whale, she saw a second whale just a few miles away, slapping its tail on the surface of the water in what looked to her like a frenzy. At this point, Anne entertained the grim thought that this could be her last day alive. She was barely keeping up with one whale. How was she going to cope with two enormous whales against her? Her grandmother's words kept ringing in her ears, and she began to think that she should have listened to her family's many warnings. The ocean truly is no place to call home, she thought sadly. Whales are known to avoid contact with humans. Why was this any different? Then she realized why and started to panic and caught a glimpse of another whale. But something was off this time. She didn't know what it was, but she could feel it. This particular creature was moving its tail in a side-to-side motion instead of up and down, which was peculiar to whales. Then it clicked. It was swimming like a shark. It was a shark, not just any shark, but a huge tiger shark that was the size of a truck. Tiger sharks are one of the deadliest sharks on Earth, second only to the great white shark. Unlike most sharks that take a single bite of their victims to determine whether they were worth eating or not, the tiger shark is known for its ravenous appetite and particular aggressiveness with humans. It is every diver's dread. This was the biggest tiger shark she had ever seen, and it was charging directly toward her. She knew she had to make a run for her life. It didn't matter that she had been pushed around for the past few minutes by a whale that was 20 times her size and was aching all over. She would not end the day in a shark's belly. And so, with all the strength she could muster, she started moving in the direction of her boat. She and her partner swam as fast as they could to their boat while looking over their backs. What were the chances that they would get to her boat before the shark caught up with them? After she was hoisted up by the other crew members, she was grateful to have survived this encounter, even as she wondered what could have caused it. As she lay on her back with her eyes to the sun, heaving from the race, she was jolted up suddenly with the realization of what had happened. She understood what the humpback was trying to do all the time. She couldn't believe it. It was trying to warn her about the shark. A whale had just saved her life. She started to cry at this point. Soon enough, the humpback came close to her boat and sprayed water out of its blowhole, and she screamed back tearfully, "I love you. I love you too, I mean it." The crew cheered as the whale dived back under the water. It had been an eventful day for all of them. The diver could not comprehend what had happened to her. As a scientist, the story was unbelievable. She would not have believed it if it had not happened to her. She had spent most of her life protecting the whales, and now one had returned the favor. She had never witnessed or heard of anything quite like this, and it prompted her to redouble her efforts in preventing the illegal hunting of whales. Now there is hope that humpback whales may soon be taken off the list of endangered species as their population is slowly increasing once more. The story and the video footage of her extraordinary encounter quickly spread widely across the internet. Scientists were left bewildered, trying to make sense of it all. They explained this remarkable behavior as altruism, something that humpback whales occasionally demonstrate. Humpback whales are known for safeguarding other sea creatures when they sense danger, even if it puts their own lives at risk. They extended this protection to Anne during her encounter. She hoped that as people watched and learned about this, they would come to recognize that humpback whales have the capacity to protect humans from threats due to their altruistic nature. This, in turn, might encourage some form of protection for these magnificent creatures. Anne's story is genuinely inspiring. What are your thoughts about her? Please share your opinions in the comments section below. Thank you.